Immigration and Custom Enforcement officer charged with receiving a bribe. I don't I don't agree with this actual with the actual charge. But anyways, a federal grand jury out of El Paso returned an indictment today charging an El Paso man receiving a bribe by a public official. According to the court documents, this 50-year-old Immigration Customs Inspector enforcement officer stationed at El Paso was persuaded to reveal law enforcement sensitive information in exchange for a $500 payment to satisfy his drug debt. That's a that doesn't make sense either because I mean, if you're gonna have a party favor, you're gonna at least buy $500. I don't know how anybody would front you that. Second, um, what drug was he actually paying the debt for? Maybe his old lady is an addict, or nah, that just doesn't make sense, you know. And who uh who tries to settle up a $500 debt with a drug dealer? You know, he was arrested August 6, 2021, and is currently on bond. So he's already out on bond. So scheduled for the arraignment. It's next week. He's gonna get arraigned next week through Texas court, Western District of Texas. If he's convicted, he can face up to 15 years in prison. That sounds about right. But anyways, um, I don't agree with the whole bribe thing though, because the drug dealer did not pay him $500. They cleared a debt, so he wasn't asking for actual public official to actually conduct some kind of illegal activity for the bribe. But anyways, he probably let him know the work schedules of individuals and how many people were going to be on a certain night for the scheduling. Because don't forget, some of these actual uh, stations, or yeah, most likely stations, not really ports, because they can bring people in from the outside. I covered a lot of actual shifts on San Isidro Port and Tecate and the Otay Crossing and the Otay Cargo Crossing. So I did my time on these ports, filling in for agents that were either sick or were on vacation. So, but when you get to a station like a port patrol station, which by the way, I just not just found out, but I recently found out that Customs Border Protection (CBP) do conduct certain sections of the actual border. They're actually on the actual border, not a port, not a facility. They're actually protecting the actual border, a certain miles of stretch. You know what I mean? So that probably has to do with something with the actual unions. You know, the unions. So I'm thinking um, he could have got something from not reporting an actual extortion, lying to agents. So that's what I maybe. I don't know. I don't know how that came about. You know that charge, anyways. And we'll keep an eye on it. And then I got three of them for you guys today. Bring to back to a certain border patrol station. So there are events that can actually uh, make a station really low on numbers. For example, if there's an actual agent from that station getting married, of course he's going to invite his coworkers. They're going to have something to do to participate in the wedding. So therefore, they'll have to honor these actual days of leave and really dropping the numbers of this actual station down way below than it should be. And that could be actual vital information for a cartel to make that move on that particular night. Trust me. I have a story on this actual one. Maybe for Labor Day weekend I'll bring it up. But we were down. We were so low. There was only three of us on shift, and that's including the actual uh, the field officer, the field officer supervisor, the FOS. Only three of us, and that including me. And I got a story on this one. Not any the story I'll bring up. Not anybody can ever tell you that they've actually witnessed this firsthand. Okay, guys, and so the actual second story. A former El Paso Police Department officer pled guilty to using her position as an officer to aid her stepfather and alleged drug dealer hide criminal activity. So basically, she uh, she actually, I believe, she owned the actual property that he was actually conducting drug transactions. And if you once in a while see a police car parked in front of your actual driveway, neighbors are going to know that somebody in law enforcement sees that actual vehicle in the driveway frequently. If she didn't live there, right? So therefore, they would that would not arise suspicion of actual drug transactions being conducted in that home, and any kind of actual uh, unknown visitors, unknown uh, drug transactions are not going to become an actual talk of the neighborhood. You know, they're not going to be like, well, everybody's coming in and out of that house. That's different of a drug dealer's house. When you're conducting transactions, big numbers, you know what I mean? It's not going to be a 20 bag, it's not going to be a 30 bag or a 40 bag. You're going to be conducting actual ounces to pounds. And therefore, she actually got that actual charge of actually maintaining basically a drug den. And so she actually pled. She actually had a good actual case against her, and she actually pleaded out. And luckily, she only got that charge. You know what I mean? And like for example, she was accused of using her law enforcement access with the actual police department that she worked in. She actually had the counterintelligence measures for her to include running license plates on vehicles associated with undercover operations. And then undercover vehicles will come back with no identities. So if local law enforcement pulls over a narc car, undercover car, they'll run the license plate and it'll be unknown. And then it'll be up to the actual officer to actually ask that individual, why is your vehicle becoming unknown? And then you actually give a hint, or you actually just say, hey, you know what? I can't reveal that. I can't even reveal what agency I work for. And they have to leave it at that. And they might actually use for you to use it, leave an actual business card or whatever. And depending on the undercover work, and you actually let them know who your supervisor is, and your supervisor will acknowledge that you actually do work for their department. And that's it. They leave it at that. Okay, now for the third one. Okay, shots fired along El Paso Juarez border for second time in 4 days. Um, we used to get this actually quite often in Imperial Beach, the San Isidro area. Uh, if they were just up in the air, if they were at us, none of us, when I was there, actually, their vehicles or the person actually got hit. But it was common. It was very, very common, and you reported it. And our counterparts down south would actually investigate it. They swarm, they saturate the area to prevent this type of actual activity. But so apparently around 12:30, shots rang out. No vehicles or agents were actually heard on the north side, and they actually handed it over to their southbound counterparts, which they conducted an investigation. They didn't find anything going on, but apparently they've been having the polleros in that area have been really, really hit hard by both Mexican police and by Border Patrol agents. So, uh, with the whole, with the whole south, southwest border being out of hand, with the migrants from all over the actual South America, it's become a burden on these actual polleros. Like I've told you guys in other videos, they're the ones that actually control the actual what goes through there people wise, and this really put a strain on them for the fact that they were going to put more officers out there. They were going to put more pressure on the local PD on the south side to actually trying to prevent them from actually crossing. But when it's not the polleros that are actually, they probably lost control of it. Someone they're trying to gain control back. But the polleros, they do have a lot of influence. They do have a lot of people up high that they actually have to kick down in order for them to conduct business and to conduct their routes. And if a pollero does not want any dope going through their actual routes, they'll pull rank. You know what I mean? They'll pull rank and stop it because you're gonna create more actual tension than a pollero needs with people. You know. And so when uh when all this was going on a few weeks back, they actually put a banner up, a manta, stating they to just to give the actual Mexican police department along the border and border patrol agents a warning, a stern warning of consequences if things didn't change for their benefit, you know. And if they're blatantly gonna be doing that and putting it out there like that, um, it's really hurting them, you know. Okay, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe.